I'm going to compare 3 of the best-selling budget webcams on Amazon right now. First, we have the GESMA webcam with microphone listed as model P and U. Next, we have the NexiGo N930AF. And of course, I have to add the classic Logitech C920. Let's go over price, specs, image quality, focus, audio, then I'll summarize these devices and give my verdict on which one you should buy. Click the timestamps in the description to skip around if you just want the TLDR. Price. If you're watching this near the time of its recording, then you know that webcams are being sold at very inflated prices. And older devices that used to almost always be on sale, like this Logitech C920, are being sold for full price or often 2 to 3 times their MSRP. So here's what I paid for all 3 of these devices so that you have a reference point. I bought the GESMA webcam for $35, the NexiGo for $55, and the Logitech C920 for $50. But this was pre-pandemic. Now you'll be lucky to find the C920 for less than $85. For current prices, I have links to all 3 webcams in the description. Let's get into the specs. All 3 of these webcams record at 1080p, 30 frames per second. They all use USB 2.0 cables, but the GESMA webcam only works with USB 2.0 ports. So if you put in a 3.0 port, it probably just won't work. And even in a 2.0 port, this thing had major issues, but we're gonna get to that later. The listed field of view for each of these devices is 110 degrees for the GESMA, 65 degrees for the NexiGo, and then 78 degrees for the Logitech C920. Now, if you saw that 110 and went, wait a minute, there's no way that this is gonna be 110 degrees, then you had the same reaction as me. And I can confirm it's definitely not 110 degrees. I compared this to the widest field of view webcam I have, the AverMedia PW513 at 94 degrees. And even though I have all these webcams lined up next to each other, so the angles are slightly different, the AverMedia had a clearly way wider field of view. And it did it without causing that horrendous fisheye like on the GESMA. I said the GESMA is maybe 85 to 90 degrees with some brutal fisheye. So they lied on that one, but that won't be the only thing that they're dishonest about. By the way, the NexiGo comes with 2 privacy filters. Why 2? Well, you have to stick it on with this super sticky tape, and if you don't get it on exactly perfectly, you can't like rearrange it. So I guess you can rip it off and try again with the other one. Pretty whack, but whatever, I guess. Okay, let's get to why you're here. Performance. Here I'll be demonstrating 4 different lighting scenarios: nighttime with a room light, nighttime with studio lights, daytime with daylight only, and daylight with studio lighting. I'll be showing both full automatic and manual settings. And if you've watched any of my guides, you know manual settings can make or break a webcam. Night performance. At night with low light, none of these webcams look good, as expected. No camera looks good in low light, but the GESMA provides the most usable image, simply because it's a brighter image without decreasing the frame rate. The graininess is pretty rough though. Using manual settings, you can get a lot more performance out of the NexiGo and C920 by changing the white balance and exposure. The C920 lets you change the gain, while the NexiGo lets you adjust the gamma. I won't go into the technical difference here, maybe in a future video. Either way, you still want to keep those both as low as possible. The GESMA only lets you change the white balance and not the exposure or gain. So it's always going to auto adjust to the light, and it doesn't really do a good job of that. Moving on, with studio lighting at night, all these webcams are functional at automatic settings, but not great. If at all possible, I take a few minutes to watch my guide on manual settings so that you can get a better look out of your webcam. At nighttime with manual settings and studio lighting, we're starting to see some clear separation. The GESMA is definitely the worst of the bunch. The colors are either yellow or blue, there's not any in between. Image quality overall is pretty whack, and it has a lot of pixelation, and the image looks super compressed. I'll talk more about this in the focus section, but out the box, your device might look super blurry. It uses manual focus only, but again, more on that later. The NexiGo is just kind of average at everything. Image isn't that sharp, colors are passable, I guess. Nothing to brag about, but I mean it works, which is more than I'll be able to say about the GESMA at the end of this review. The legendary Logitech C920 has the best image quality and color accuracy of the bunch. It's been almost 10 years and this thing still keeps on trucking. Not super sharp, but definitely beats out the other two. Let's switch it up to daytime. With daylight only automatic settings, we have more or less the same trend as before. The GSMA is blurry, the NexiGo is average, and the C920 is decent. With daylight only, the automatic settings are actually better than anything I could really tweak in manual settings, so I guess that's a good thing for the automatic settings of these webcams, so yeah. In daylight with studio lighting, you can actually make some money with the C920. What I mean is you can run a whole YouTube channel, Twitch channel, and look professional in video conferencing if you get a C920 with good lights and master manual settings. That's the reason why this webcam, the C920, is still so popular. The NexiGo N930AF stays consistent at second place, while the GESMA, even in the best possible lighting conditions, couldn't really get anything going. Now, if that comparison was enough to help you make your decision, then of course I've got links to all three of the webcams in the description, but if you want to learn some more, let's move on to focus. Golly gee willikers, I've never been this disappointed at webcam's focus in my life. The C920 has decent autofocus. It's not super fast, but it works, usually. The GSMA has manual focus, but you have to change it by physically twisting the lens like a real camera. Pretty cool idea, except for two problems. First, this webcam has the loosest clip onto your monitor. It's just not that snug, so you have to readjust it onto your monitor every time you change the focus. Secondly, it's actually too sharp when it's in focus. It gives this weird artificial cartoon look, so you have to put it in focus, but then also decrease the sharpness in settings. So yeah, overall, it's just a strange mechanism. The NexiGo was by far the most disappointing of the three. On the box, this thing is called Autofocus FHD Webcam, but the autofocus straight up didn't work at all. I had to manually adjust the focus if I put anything next to the camera. So the focus obviously works, but not the autofocus on an Autofocus FHD webcam. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. On to audio. Here are some audio clips from all three devices. All right, this is a microphone test with the GESMA webcam, and I'm just hearing what it sounds like. This is the audio straight from the webcam, so you'll see, if you talk in Zoom or something like that, and this is the microphone that you're using, this is what it'll sound like. All right, this is the NexiGo N930AF microphone test. Just hearing what it sounds like, and yeah, this is the onboard microphone. This is the Logitech C920, and this is the onboard microphone right in the webcam. This is what it'll sound like if you're just talking and you don't have any external mic, you're just using the webcam itself. So yeah, the audio sucks. I definitely get a USB microphone to go with one of these. I reviewed a few inexpensive ones that still have good audio quality, like the Razer Siren Mini and the Vifon K669B. I'll be reviewing more in the future. This mic right here is the Blue Raspberry. It's my favorite mic, but it's out of production, so. And now for my verdict. The GESMA webcam with microphone is whack. Don't buy this thing. It looks bad, it doesn't work half the time, and the field of view is completely off from what they mentioned. There's also this halo behind me, if you can see, come on, man. During multiple segments of me recording this review, the webcam just froze. I'm not gonna be too hard on any of these cameras. I know it's flickering and stuff like that. What the just happened? And I couldn't deactivate it and activate it to get it back on. It would not turn on in any application unless I unplugged it and plugged it back in. That would be so terrible during an important video conference. That shouldn't be something that you have to think about ever. But the worst part is somehow this is still the best-selling webcam on Amazon at the time of this recording. And that's in large part due to all the 5-star reviews. How is that possible? Well, because this webcam has a trump card in the box. This. Inside the box, it comes with a card that says Amazon $10 gift card. Well, it's not really a $10 gift card, but on the back, it says that they'll give you $10 of Amazon store credit if you give them a 5-star review. What is this brazen, broad daylight bribery going on? Shame on you, GSMA, and shame on all the Amazon reviewers who gave this 5 stars to get a little bit of Amazon credit. The NexiGo N930AF is super average at everything. It pretty much just does what it says on the box. Well, I mean, I guess except for it not actually having autofocus, at least not the one I got. But yeah, the device does function. The Logitech C920 is clearly the best webcam here in terms of sharpness, color accuracy, autofocus. So for my verdict, I would say if you can find the Logitech C920 for what I paid for it, 50 bucks, get the Logitech C920 all day. But if the Logitech C920 is over 80 bucks, but you really need a cheap webcam to use for video conferencing or Zoom or something like that, then I would recommend getting the NexiGo N930AF. I wouldn't try to make YouTube videos with this. I wouldn't try to stream on Twitch with this, but if you need something to just like hop on Zoom and you want something that just works, then I'd get this. All 3 of these webcams are linked in the description, but if you want a webcam that's like really legit, check out my best webcams compared video or my article on my website, streamtechreviews.com. Now I'll see you in the next review.